This is professional wrestling savior, one half of Death by Elbow, the Juice, JT Dunn. And right now, you're listening to another wrestling podcast.
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
The measuring stick just changed around here, buddy. You're looking at
the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
They got the answers. I change the question.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
These are the best in the world, brother. These are the best at what they do.
When we talk about the legends of the sport, there's only two in my book.
Another wrestling podcast.
All right. Welcome to another wrestling podcast. I'm Credo.
And I'm Angry Cooter, the social assassin.
And this is episode 130 of another wrestling podcast. Each and every week, Cooter, man, we're doing it up. We're doing this, man. This is our gimmick. This is our life on the side, talking about wrestling, right?
Yeah, exactly, bro. I mean, what would it be? What's the point of watching all these shows if I don't have anybody to talk about them with, you know?
You don't want to bottle up your wrestling emotions. You got to let it out there.
This is how I let my anger out, is I talk about wrestling. So I get all my frustrations out, so I go to bed with a smile on my face, you know?
There you go. It's a life therapy session for everybody each and every week. Cooter, everybody welcome Angry Cooter, because he's definitely a new addition to AWP 2.0, pretty much is what it is. It's been great.
But I want to thank all the people who have, DM me, message me, saying that, they like my style. So I'm going to do my best to keep all you marks on the edge of your seats when you're listening to this shit.
There you go, guys. Well, each and every week we have been, I would like to say, one of the longest running weekly episodic podcasts out there, because when we started 2 years ago, we haven't stopped. Each and every week we've had a guest on there. So whether you're listening to episode 130, like today, or episode 1, we have somebody on each and every show for you guys. It's a wild ride, but this week is even better. We have the psychedelic warrior Dave Cole stopping by. He's not only an artist, but he's a professional wrestler. And also Briana Dailey, who's the CEO of Grapple. She makes some wrestling shirts. We're going to talk to her a little bit about that. So a lot happening this week. What about this movie trailer, Logan, man?
Oh, did you see this? This was awesome.
It's a little sad though, man. This is his last time at his gimmick. This is the last time he's being Wolverine. This is like Ric Flair retiring.
Compare him to Goldberg. He's not walking around going, "Guess what? You're last." Like, no. He's not done. I don't care what anybody says. He's not done. If the money's right, you know what? He'll be back for another movie if they have a good enough script. He can't say no. I mean,
I think Shawn Michaels retired, though. I think he's definitely, I don't know.
He's not Shawn Michaels. Come on, he's more like Ric Flair.
Ric Flair, he's never going to stop.
Hang it up. Just can't hang it. Did you watch Arrow at all?
I've watched it. I'm still trying to catch up. I'm really behind.
I caught up last year, and I'm now watching live. Cody Rhodes was on Arrow, I believe, last week and this week. Oh my God, he was great. He's a drug dealer. He plays on Arrow, and guess what the name of the drug that he sells is?
No.
Yes, Stardust. Yes, it is. I swear to you, bro. I was sitting there. I was like, oh my God, because I didn't recognize him at first because I watched this stuff on my phone.
Yeah.
While I'm like in the gym, and I'm on the treadmill, so I really can't see all that well. But when they said Stardust, and I'm like, is it fucking Cody Rhodes? Like, holy shit, dude.
We're going to talk some WWE Network coming up in a little bit. A little bit about a tier system I'm hearing about. Maybe that $9.99 isn't going to be forever.
Well, you know what? That would be a shame. But you know what? We'll get into that a little bit later on, shall we?
Definitely, man. So it's been a big week. Let's get right into the week that was. We talked for the past few weeks about this James Ellsworth, and his 15 minutes. Is his 15 minutes up or not? But my question to you though is, part-timers, are they ruining the brands now? I thought they had enough, talent on each side to just have their own matches, but now I've been seeing more jobbers. This guy who's had, this is his third episode of national TV for him, and he didn't do anything. He's just an indie Joe Schmo in the world of wrestling. Part-timers, man, I'm hearing other part-timers might be coming back. We've seen the Headbangers on there. We've seen the Spirit Squad. What is happening? I feel like we're going back to 90s. Did we run out of talent?
Do we really have a problem with James Ellsworth? I mean, yeah, I know. I get it. His 15 minutes is going to be up. I can't get enough of this guy for some reason. He is like I said last week, Mikey Whipwreck. He reminds me exactly like him. Takes a beating, gets his ass whooped, and somehow
that's his thing,
is getting a win. It's hilarious to me. And honestly, when he hit him with that super kick, you tell me you didn't shit your pants.
Sweet chin music, baby.
We gotta throw a big shout out to David Otunga for naming that move the no chin music. I mean, every once in a while, even a broken clock is right twice a day. David Otunga, good call on that move. The no chin music. I shit myself laughing.
Do you feel like there's so much more attention going to this talent than the talent you really want it to be on? I mean, I think I don't know if he's just one of those flash in the pans that are just going to be like, hey, James Ellsworth, and now he's gone. I think he's gone now. So I don't know. I hear his merch is like the top selling merch this week too. So that's even kudos to that for just putting his mug on a T-shirt.
All week, every time they post something up on Facebook or social media, it's all about James Ellsworth. There's nothing wrong with that. The guy is going to draw. I mean, even if it's for a little while, why can't these marks who are bitching and complaining just enjoy it? It's not going to last forever.
Oh, definitely. And I don't know. I think I don't know who's like, changing the book over here, because it's been great. Last year, I don't think you'd even be talking about what you would think this whole brand split would be like again, and with all this talent coming that used to be that you thought we would never see in a WWE ring again, they're coming back for these little stints, and they're having like 2 to 3 week stints. I don't know. I feel like they're taken away though from the main roster. A lot of guys are still, you think they would have had more time to shine, but now we're having James Ellsworth. Like
he's not the end all be all to this story. This is all to enhance Styles versus Ambrose, because I'm tired of seeing the same old same where these guys have matches, they end up in tag matches against each other and all that other bullshit. This is something different. This is something fresh. A nobody getting a chance and Ambrose using it to his advantage and getting under, AJ's skin. It's fun. Like I said, it's not going to last forever, and he's doing a great job of his job, just doing the job. James Ellsworth is going to sell out arenas doing jobs and hitting people with no chin music. He will lose every match and will get paid handsomely for it.
Man, it's definitely one of those diamond in the rough moments. It's great to be living out, I guess. But regardless, coming up though is Survivor Series and 2 pay-per-views from now. I know there's a lot of pay-per-views, but the big one, Survivor Series, talking about being on SmackDown, and these part-timers, they're going to have some classic matchups, and regardless, we still got a long ways to go before we talk all about Survivor Series. Roughly, these matchups are going to decide whether that brand can draft other people over. So I believe they would get like 3 picks if they win. Some more details are still going to unfold about that, but I mean, is it guys that are just not being used right on Raw, or which roster do you think is not being used right? Because now this is going to draft some of those guys over to maybe balance out the brands even more.
I don't really know. I mean, there are some guys getting lost in the shuffle, unfortunately, and I think a lot of it has to do on Raw with the addition of the Cruiserweight division, which is great. I love the Cruiserweight division, so, don't crucify me, folks. But, at the end of the day, guys on Raw are getting lost in the shuffle now because there is 2 less spots on television a week for these guys. So I think SmackDown is going to take the win, and I think we're going to inject some Raw talent on the SmackDown. I would love to just see some trades. I would love it if they could say, forget drafting guys over. We're going to give you this bum for this one, and you don't have a choice. Like, you know what I'm saying? That would be really cool.
I would like to see Cesaro get drafted to SmackDown and win the WWE Championship. Put him in the main event, which is lacking. That's why they're having James Ellsworth. It all goes back to him full circle. If they didn't have James Ellsworth, they could have Cesaro over there right now in a program for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Who else would you throw over on SmackDown from Raw?
Put Jericho maybe. Switch Jericho away from Kevin Owens, man. Get Jericho away from Kevin Owens. I feel like he's overshadowing him a little bit. I mean, I love the team. I love the whole list and all that. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like Kevin Owens, his championship run is just being overshadowed by Jericho in a way. Does that make sense? I feel like,
Yeah, but they're
strong
going
enough
somewhere
alone
with that.
With him
they're
now?
going somewhere with that. I can't get enough of it. And I know that was a topic that I really wanted to talk about. Jericho is outshining Kevin Owens, but I think they're doing that on purpose because, we're setting up for the next big feud. And I think Kevin Owens versus Jericho is going to be that feud. I think that's going to be great. If anybody needs to move over from Raw to SmackDown, it's Sami Zayn. Yeah. That poor bastard can't catch a break.
Yeah, poor Sam. It's like I was like, wow, they finally found a program for him. And Braun Strowman, it's gonna be like the David versus Goliath kind of a matchup. It'll be interesting. I don't know, but still, I think maybe it's a stepping stone in the right direction. He still deserves more, but at the same time, yeah, he's lost in that little bit of shuffle that guys like the part-timers going right back to that first topic that are taking the place, If some of those part-timers weren't on TV, you have another spot, you know what I mean? You have another spot for somebody just to feud with somebody, but I guess they don't want to beat up their own talent too much, They want to just bring back the jobbers, land of the jobbers.
Let's talk about the return of Goldberg.
Yeah, I was kind of worried. I didn't really expect too much from him. I mean, I've met him. We met him last year. We interviewed him on the show. You can go to our YouTube page, Cheap Pop plug. It's on there. It's one of our most viewed videos, and we interviewed him. He got a huge reaction, regardless. At the end of the day, there's a lot of new kids out there, new kids on the block that didn't really watch. That we're at that generation, we're that old right now, where there's just people that haven't watched like the Attitude Era and his whole thing, you know what I mean? Unless they're watching the network, obviously, but they didn't live through it. So it was kind of curious to how he would get that reaction, because half of that crowd is people that know him and people that don't. So it was.
I hated it because the whole show. They're showing highlights of Goldberg, like right before they would, especially when they would come back from commercial.
His greatest moments.
His greatest moments, and I'm just like, oh, way to blow his decision making. Like, here we go. Yes, he's back. He's going to be on Raw. We don't know what he's going to say, but yeah, we know what he's going to say because you're showing all his highlights, like it matters.
I should have beef with him too, because he definitely put Bret Hart. He retired Bret Hart, and I'll never let that go.
That's the greatest thing he ever did.
No, it wasn't. Bite your tongue.
That's my favorite kick to the head ever. I love that more than Sid hit Jose Lothario in the chest with a camera.
Oh man, he almost killed him.
Back to the topic here. He just looked old, like, dude.
Oh yeah, he definitely looks aged, but I don't know. He didn't really, wasn't out in like trunks or anything, so we don't really know what that Goldberg looks like to the old Goldberg. I know he's in shape in that, but
because I could tell by the hair color, we went from blonde to holy shit, you're white. You look like Santa Claus with a fucking goatee.
It's going to be interesting, man, because then, his whole thing was, you're last. So is this the last ever match of Goldberg? And does he lose? He just put himself over as a superhero for like all these kids. He's he's hugging and kissing and picking out the kid. Then he realized he didn't pick out his own kid, so he had to walk all the way back over and pick his own kid out of the audience. He's like, I saw it in his face. He picks out the kid.
He had Alzheimer's. He forgot which one was his kid.
He picked up the kid, and you see it in his face because he's like looking down exactly where his son is looking at him, and he's like, shit, I picked up this kid. My son's going to hate me. Let me go back over there. So he puts the other kid down really quick, and then he walks back over and is like, shit, I got to pick my son up, or else that'll look pretty bad. Is his wife like a real housewife of something? Because she looks famous. I didn't even look it up.
I was just going to say, you know what?
She looks like a real housewife or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been shitting on Bill Goldberg, but you know what? Respect to Bill Goldberg, because his wife is sexy as fuck. His wife is hotter than Brock's. And Brock's wife is Sable. I'm just saying. I think Goldberg's wife is is a lovely lady.
Her name is Wanda Theraton.
All right, so her name's not as sexy as Sable's, but whatever. I mean, you got to take the good with the bad, you know?
She's a stunt double. She's a stunt performer. Cool. So I'm just looking at all of her things. Yeah, she just does stunts. Wanda.
So she's a training partner for Goldberg's return. She's taking all the spears and, yes, apparently the jackhammer. Wink, wink.
I'm looking at her movies, too, that she probably did stunts for, and honestly, I'm sorry. The Unsaid, Ginger Snaps Back, Santa's Sleigh, and Ararat. I don't know. Regardless, it's a movie that you probably have never even seen. So, and regardless, though, one of the biggest things I think we just have to mention briefly, we've kind of mentioned in the past few weeks too, but the whole TNA saga. It's a whole new level. Now, these sealed documents, Cooter, Billy Corgan, he's suing Dixie Carter, and it's in a sealed, it's a sealed envelope. It's sealed. I mean, nobody in the public can know what he's suing her for. So people are saying that, it's the money that he put towards the thing, like he wants it back like that fast, or is it something else? And now I've also understood that the Fight Network wants to pay those bills for TNA to have, to eventually put maybe TNA on the Fight Network. What do you think about that?
You know what? Billy Corgan should have known better. I don't get this. I really don't. You'd have a better chance of getting money out of fucking homeless Charlie than TNA. I'm serious. How can you sue a company that you're backing when they don't have anything to sue you for? They're having to let go of certain talent because they apparently can't afford to keep certain people. What's the point? What are you suing them for? Maybe control. Maybe he feels that if he sues them and they have nothing, he can just have the company. Maybe that's what it has to do with. But in terms of monetary value, if you've already sold the library, that company is worth diddly squat. So maybe he just wants control. And the fact that he put all this money into it is so he can say, hey, I have a stake in this. They owe me money. They might as well just give me the company because they can't pay it back.
Now, I think the one biggest thing coming out of this, too, would be the name. So if you said that's true, to where if, let's say, whoever bought the tape library, if WWE bought it, somebody else bought it, or if nobody bought it, but regardless, if that tape library is sold, you pretty much bought, from 2000 to 2010 or whatever, whatever the year is when it started to when it ended, and you had that certain point, and now you own that. So now, if technically Billy owns TNA and they sold the library, technically he doesn't really own that. Well, he owns that. No, it's hard because if they sold the library, he won't own that name. So it's like he has to take that business and rename it because I don't think he wouldn't have the rights to TNA anymore, right? They have that whole library. So
I've had too many beers.
I know there's too many. I'm not trying to play lawyer over here. Yeah,
God.
Regardless, it's just the saga never ends, and it's going to be interesting at the end of the day because if the Fight Network does get TNA, that's kind of competition and a little bit for WWE. It's not going to outdo what they have, but it's just other wrestling that people they're not going to pay that $9.99 or we'll get into the tiers later on about if the network does change. So it could be interesting to see if that Fight Network does something better than anybody else could have done on TV, because that's the day and age. You're going to watch your shows on your phone, your iPad, or on the computer. How many times compared to how many times versus the phone and stuff that you're watching on your TV. So. Regardless, but even that, they're on the Roku, so I know you could download them on Roku, not on Apple TV yet, so maybe, I don't know, things will happen for them, because they said they're a moneymaker. Regardless, we'll see. Fight Network has that money. We'll have another little network. The network wars we'll live through now. So
you know what I wish? I really wish this. I wish it would just go away. I really do. TNA is like old school Matt Hardy. TNA just won't die. Just die already, please. Just send all your decent guys over to NXT and WWE. Just give it up. It's not worth it anymore.
Regardless, guys, there's a big week that was. All right, AWP fans, listen up.
Yeah, we're talking to you.
We are a listener-supported podcast.
The show is created by wrestling fans for wrestling fans.
Each week we bring to you one-of-a-kind interviews with pro wrestling's greatest superstars from yesterday and today.
We do this at no cost to you, the fans.
But before we talk to today's guest,
Here are a few ways where you can support us and give us our love.
It's very simple. Rate us and review us. Go over to iTunes or Stitcher, Player FM, TuneIn, whatever it is. Just tell all your friends about it.
Follow us on all that social media stuff. Whatever you kids are doing these days. You can give us a like, follow us, a poke, a point, a German suplex if you're Brock Lesnar, whatever you want.
Lastly, if you are an ultimate AWP fan, head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/Another Wrestling Podcast and purchase an official AWP shirt. There's more than one.
Thanks for supporting us and enjoy the show, bitches.
But coming up, we have the Psychedelic Warrior, Dave Cole. All right, sometimes in wrestling, art imitates life, or life imitates art. Regardless, our next guest is the best of both worlds. He's an artist. He's a wrestler. He is the Psychedelic Warrior, Dave Cole. Dave, man, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me. I always love talking about some wrestling and art, and that's my life. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm painting and I'm watching an old Wrestle Jam, actually.
Last we saw you was at the New England Fan Fest last year. You had a broken leg. Are you 100% these days? How you doing?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. I don't know if I've really ever been 100% after I started wrestling, but the knee is better than I really ever expected it to be. Rolling around last year in the wheelchair, it wasn't the best, and it felt so good after. It was about just under a year that I was out, and I had my first match back in May, and that was just such a good feeling after being out for so long when I really didn't want to be.
Definitely. Now, after being out that long, is it just like riding a bike, you hop back on it, or is it just you get a little bit of rust from being out that long from wrestling?
There's a little bit of rust, honestly. I'd love to say it was easy to get back into it, but just keeping up with my stamina, I had to get that back, and I'm still getting that back.
Sure.
I wrestled Drew Gulak recently, and he's just an amazing competitor, and I just couldn't keep up with him. He's just so good. So I dropped a little weight. I'm trying to get my cardio up again so I could go up against some of the better talent around here in New England.
You were trained by Bert Centino, who's also a former talent for WWE. What was it like? Can you take us back to that moment where you said, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. I need to go get training. How did this come about? How did you meet Bert?
Well, I used to backyard wrestle for years, and we took it really seriously. We built like a whole ring that with working ropes and stuff. And we just took it very seriously. So I always had the passion. I didn't know what I was doing backyard wrestling, but I had that drive to perform, and the creative process of thinking of ideas for matches and just things like that. And then I remember going to a little local show, and on the side of the ring was a number for the wrestling school. And I'm not sure if I knew wrestling schools even existed, or I just didn't think about it before that. And then when I saw that number, I was like, all right. And I had my buddy Spider, of New England wrestling fame, who passed away a long time ago. Spider grew up in my hometown. We used to backyard wrestle together. He trained at the same place I did, the USA Pro Wrestling School in West Haven, Connecticut. And during a match, this was a while ago now, he hit his head on the outside, and he ended up passing away from it during a show. And it was just so sad because I just grew up backyard wrestling with him. We trained together. But anyway, it was during his match that I saw that. So I always give credit to him for so many things in my wrestling career, from backyard wrestling to figuring out that I wanted to train and everything. So anyway, on a lighter note, I started training at the USA Pro Wrestling School in Connecticut, and under Bert Santana, and I learned a lot through there. And Jay Busta, who's also been around New England for a long time, he's a New England veteran, and he's still going. Mm-hmm. He needed a tag team partner, so I started teaming with him as the Canadian Superstars, and started traveling with him, and he really helped me just start traveling and working shows all over. And that was the beginning of my career.
Sure. Now, when we talked to you too last time, you told us that Bret Hart, Benoit, Macho Man were some of your favorites growing up. Did they have any influence on your style of wrestling, or did anybody else really influence the way you wrestled?
Yeah, I would say all of them. I've always loved Benoit's aggression. I mean, the past couple of months I've actually been using the crossface to finish my matches when I can. And I've just always loved his aggression, just the way he went about picking his opponent apart. I always look up to that. Brett, the technician, as well. I love guys like that, and I still do. And I've always loved lucha though too. I love lucha. I love just the style and the takedowns and the submissions. So I feel like I try to blend in some like technical submission wrestling with some lucha. And yeah, that's what I love.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned Chris Benoit. A lot of people out there today, I'm kind of curious about your thoughts being a professional wrestler. Is it okay to at least talk about his career and how he was as a wrestler without people getting mad, pretty much,
Yeah, I've never really come across anybody that, I mean...
I know, because it's like, I just know some friends or people that talk, and it's like, if you mention Chris Benoit, then it's like, then they, it's like, oh, we know what he did, and they don't want to talk about him. But I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about what he did, when as a wrestler when he was wrestling. And
exactly. I mean, he gave me so many of my favorite matches ever. One of my favorite meetings before I started training, just meeting him at an autograph session, and him being just so kind, and what he signed my chair. He said to Dave, hit him hard. And that was before I even started training. And I always kind of use that as like a little like push, like just like keep going, like keep going hard. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I don't know, life's crazy.
Yeah.
Things like that they happen, and it's terrible. But there's history before that, and I mean, I could separate the two. I don't know. Some people maybe they can't, but
well, definitely. Well, it's good to see here that you can at least talk about what was happening and not just disregard that because of what he did later on. But that's all. I was just curious about that. But regardless, fast forward a little bit though. You also wrestled in Japan for 0-1. Can you tell us about your experience going over there? And
two of my goals in wrestling were always the WWE in Japan, and I just wanted to train in Japan. I always heard about the training, and that was one of my goals. And I remember emailing them one year, and he was just like, no, he kind of denied me, and he was like, no, I don't think you're ready. And that just like made me work harder. So like a year later, I emailed them again, and I was like, can I come? Like, can I come train for like a little period of time? And he finally just said okay, and I flew there. It was a wild experience, man. Just being in a foreign country by yourself, nobody speaking English really. But it was a life-changing experience, and it really like gave me a new level of work ethic, and pushed me beyond my limits, and you need that in life. I love moments in life that do that to you. And yeah, I just remember being in that ring, and that first step in the ring, like feeling that, like just pure like elation that I had done it. I did it. I did it all myself. I worked hard, and I got there. So yeah, I trained there for a couple of weeks, and yeah, that was an experience. I never got to work any shows, but
sure, still being able to be out there and take your career and add that little notch in the belt of being able to go over there. So it's great.
Oh yeah. I love stepping out of my comfort zone too. So things like that, just I feel like they make you stronger. So I love doing that.
Definitely. So a little bit about your wrestling career, but not you're not just a pro wrestler. You're also an artist. And breaking news: you just quit your job recently to pursue art more. Can you give us a cut of promo for us on you quitting your job and sticking with art now? Or maybe just let people know your mindset, why, and what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I've been wrestling for 12 years. I've been an artist my whole life. I mean, I know I'm not going to wrestle forever, especially after my knee. I can't wrestle like I used to just after the injury. It's really hard coming back from that and being the same. So, I've had the opportunities to expand my art through wrestling shows, and beyond wrestling in general has really given me a platform to showcase myself as an artist, doing the ring canvas and stuff, and helping with shirt designs, and just being able to show my art at the shows. It's been really good, and that's what I want in life. Like I've completed my wrestling goals. I've been to Japan. I've done WWE. I want to set new goals for myself in a different aspect, and that being art. And I believe in myself. I believe in my abilities, and I have crazy ideas that I'm gonna have to work hard to execute. But I think once I do, they're gonna like really show the world the kind of brain that I'm working with, and I just have some really large scale stuff that I'm gonna do eventually. But I have big plans, and I have goals, and I believe that if you work hard, eventually good things happen. So that's like the next chapter in my life. And so I've been working at the same job for pretty much my whole life, 15 years. And it's time that I took this step out and just really tried to dive into the things that I love. Yeah.
Well, you are an acrylic painter first and foremost, but you also do some custom Funkos on the side. We've seen on your social media. Can you tell us a little bit about we spoke briefly about who influenced you in wrestling. How about is there any artist out there who influenced you your art?
Yeah, I love street art and graffiti and that sort of style of art, and so that's always been a big influence on me. And then just graphically, me being a graphic designer, I like clean lines and bold colors and stuff like that. And there's actually a customizer, MB Customs, and he does kind of like comic book stuff and all these, basically just a comic book themed guys. And I saw his stuff, and I saw what could be done with just a simple pop, and I was like, so I kind of applied my own kind of style to the pops, and that's become a little small business of mine, and it feels good, because I remember doing the first one and just thinking nothing of it. I mean, it was the first one I ever did. I thought maybe I'd do a couple more, and I feel like I've probably done close to 100 at this point.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been fun, and recently I did one of Matt Hardy, Broken Matt, and somebody presented it to him, and he cut a little promo like with it in his hand, and like was like just looking at it like in shock and awe, and just like with that huge crazy broken smile on his face. So things like that it's just really cool. Like those are little achievements. That's like a title win as far as like accomplishments in art. As opposed to wrestling. I feel that same kind of like just warmth.
Sure, and now also too, I see in a lot of different paintings that you have too. I see a lot of Simpsons and Nintendo characters. Like you're taking their world and they're introducing them into like almost mixing up the worlds a little bit with your paintings. Can you explain a little bit about what you're doing with some of the characters, and how you maybe go about choosing who to wear what or who to do what. As far as
I mean, sometimes it's kind of based on what's going on in the world. I didn't do any of the Pokemon ideas I had, but with Pokemon Go recently going crazy, I had planned on doing something like that, but I never got around to those. But and also just kind of what I feel and love. Like I grew up with The Simpsons. That's one of my favorite shows ever. And the Nintendo, and I'm a huge video game lover, so just things like that. And I kind of started steering away from that just because I didn't want people to think of me only as someone who could copy other people's stuff with my own little twist. So that's why I do some of the more original stuff, and that's what I plan on doing in the future.
You're one of the big names in the New England independent scene. My question to you is, right now with the cream of the crop, WWE, what they're doing with bringing some enhancement talent. They'll bring in local guys to either be on Raw or, for example, James Ellsworth. This guy has been used on Raw so much and SmackDown and all that stuff. Is it good? Because they haven't really done that in years to where they were having outside talent. It was pretty much everybody within their system. How do you feel, though, as an independent wrestler to where, they're finally just dabbing in some guys from wherever they are to use on the show more? Because maybe a few years ago it was just they were using guys to be rosebuds for Adam Rose, but now they're actually using wrestlers to go against Bayley, to go against Braun Strowman, all these other guys. To where, do you think just having that little bit of 5 minutes on Raw or SmackDown helps out some of the guys on the indie scene a little bit? In a way, what I mean? So it's not like they're not getting a whole match, but it just gives them more exposure, kind of.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. If anything, it helps their confidence to keep, work that much harder. It's like you give somebody that opportunity, and that's life changing. That's really a crazy thing, and I think it's awesome that they're doing that. And a lot of these guys that they're putting on, maybe they might not even be that great, but this is just a once in a lifetime opportunity. Or for James Ellsworth, you catch the right eye and they love you, and you are doing a program with AJ Styles. It's that's wild. No, I'm good. I'm glad they're doing it. I've always been a fan of squash matches. I think it could turn into something good. I think with Braun, it's been good. He looked like a beast. He is a beast.
And I think it's more or less good to where they're not really wasting their own guys, I guess, losing all the time, to where you bring this outside name in from the local town, he goes up against Braun Strowman or whoever, and they lose, and it's not that big of a deal. But if you're having guys like Zack Ryder or whoever just losing all the time, it just kills their character, right? I guess right. So it kind of saves the rest of the roster a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think they kind of started realizing that too. And yeah, why not just get local guys in, get guys to show off their moves and stuff, make them look good. Yeah, just really no negatives with that, I don't think.
Definitely. And now for fans listening out there too, you also mentored JT Dunn, another big New England name. We get to see him at a lot of the shows around here too. Can you tell us any stories about you and JT Dunn, about getting him into the business and working with him?
Yeah, man, I've known JT so long at this point. I've kind of seen him through just the early stages of his career, and that's where our strong bond came from. Just him growing up wrestling in New England, kind of maybe making some mistakes here and there, rubbing some people the wrong way. But he was young, and I knew he had that desire and passion. And I could see that in him. And I always gave him just some strong, serious advice. And I think I kind of became like a big brother to him. And I still kind of feel that way. We have a real good bond, and I'm so proud of what he's doing. He just went to Germany for the first time. He's just killing it everywhere he goes. it's just awesome. It's awesome to see, and to say that, you know, he feels like I'm a mentor to him. That makes me proud. So, yeah, he's just been doing so good, and I can't wait. I think he could keep going further and further. He always impresses. He just has to get the right people to see him.
Well, great. Well, Dave, you know, I could talk to you all night, but I can't do that. I thank you so much for stopping by. Can you tell the fans where they could probably buy some of your artwork, or where they could follow you on social media these days?
Yeah, you could go to davecoledojo.com, and you can find all my contact info and my Instagram and my Twitter and my Etsy. That's all through there at davecoledojo.com.
Well, great. Dave, you know, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it, and we'll hope to see you soon down the line, all right?
Thank you very much.
This is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to another wrestling podcast in association with Celeb VM. Order a personal video message from me and many other wrestlers and celebrities now. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
That's right. Head on over to celebvm.com/AWP.
Get a personal video message for yourself or as a gift for someone else. For personal connections, shout-outs, birthdays, proposals, weddings, and much more. Enter your details about yourself so the celebrity can record a personal video message, especially for you, including details such as your name, age, birthday, hobbies, or whatever else you include. As soon as the video has been recorded, you'll get an email with your link so you can share it on social media or download and keep it. Celebrities record videos as and when they can, usually within 2 weeks. But if you want a video for a specific date and it does not look like it will arrive in time, you can cancel it and get an instant refund at the click of a button. There are hundreds of celebrities to choose from and many more joining every day. Search by category or genre, buy a gift voucher, get updates and offers, and encourage your favorite celebrities to join so they can connect with fans in a fun and unique way. Raise money for their charities and much more. So order your video now for yourself or for someone else.
Celebrity video messages and another wrestling podcast team up. Be sure to head on over to celebvm.com/AWP. And joining us now, Briana Dailey. All right, we already talked to Dave Cole, who's a wrestler and an artist, but we're also going to talk to somebody else who's quite the artist. Her name's Briana Dailey, all the way from St. Louis, Missouri. Welcome to the show, Briana.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, what can you tell the fans out there listening right now who love to buy wrestling merchandise, from shirts to hats to everything and anything? What do you do, and what's the name of your company, and tell us a little bit about it.
So I am the owner of Grapple Merch, and it's an alternative wrestling merch shop, of course. We do everything from t-shirt designs to hats to tank tops, you name it. I started it back in June. We've been going strong since then, with a lot of help from a lot of wrestlers. Just trying to get something out for people who love wrestling tees, but they want to wear it beyond the arena.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of your designs? Because I'm on your site right now. For everybody listening, it's grapple.bigcartel.com. I see the Steve Austin what. I see the booty is, the booty was, the booty will ever be. A lot of other great shirts. Maybe you could tell us some of the shirts. Tell us the ideas behind them, who they are, and maybe why you love it.
So, of course, the Stone Cold one was based on Steve. I knew that I wanted to make a shirt based on a legend, and Steve's a legend, and I decided to go down a handmade route that way. So I did all of the text and the illustration all by hand, and colored it. And for the New Day shirt, I was inspired by Bret Hart and New Day. So, yeah. And you know how I mentioned it on another podcast. I was like, how with their other shirt it was like the booty at night is big and bright.
Yeah.
So that's what I based mine off of too.
And I see, one of your logos pretty much seems to be, almost looks like the Macho Man tights, right, I guess? There's 3 stars and has Grapple on it. Is that like the logo you have? Yeah.
It is. I wanted people to know that is the logo that I was going for sure. It was a toss-up between him and Dusty, and Dusty's birthday just passed, so, man, like I said, I wanted to base the logo on either one of those guys. And, they're both so, dear to all wrestling fans, so, like I said, it's a toss-up, and I think that I went with Randy because his logo or his stars are more versatile than Dusty's polka dot, so I decided to go down that route, and people have liked it ever since.
Sure, and I also see a Swiss T-shirt. Is that for Cesaro? I'm assuming, right? I have to.
Yes.
That'd be the point obvious, but yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
And Cesaro approved. Cesaro's always. I've always been making shirts ever since I've been doing this stuff. I've always made shirts that are inspired by Cesaro, and he's always shown me love. With every shirt that I've put out, he's always shown me love. So with this one, I go to school for graphic design. I'm a senior at Maryville University, and there's this design style that's called Swiss typography, and I've always based that style of graphic design on Cesaro. I think they go hand in hand, and Cesaro, like I said, he approves. So yeah, I really, really enjoy that design, and Cesaro does too. So awesome. I just hope that others do.
Now, I definitely want to get this hat over as F-U-C-K. There you go. I don't want to... It's obvious we don't have to be, perfect, exactly. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, that's a great hat. I definitely have to order that. Tell us a little bit about this. Was this, who's it inspired by or anything like that you could tell us about?
Okay, so this is really awesome UK wrestler by the name of Jay Garner, and Grapple also sponsors him. We sponsor a few wrestlers, but he's one of the guys who has been here since the very beginning, when it did start back in June of this year. And we were, bouncing some ideas off each other, and he's just like, well, what if you made a hat that said over something? Because I was trying to figure out what are some cool things that I could say for the hat. And you know how everyone's always nowadays, they're like, man, such and such is over as F. So I said, well, I think that's something that would get over with the fans, and it's been getting good, positive feedback ever since.
Definitely, and I think that's what's great about what you're doing is stuff like that, because that hat right there is a prime example of WWE's never going to make that. So
right.
And the fans want to buy stuff like that, and that's where you step in, and I think that's a great idea. That's perfect, and I hope you sell thousands and thousands of those. But I will also mention too, you also support independent wrestlers by giving them opportunities to discount their merch. Some wrestlers that you sponsor are Mr. Grimm, Marco Stunt, and the Mega Plowers. Can you tell us a little bit about working with some independent guys?
They're really, really cool guys. From what I've learned from these guys, it's hard being an independent wrestler, and any way that you can help them, they're so thankful for that. I just got in touch with Grimm. We were talking about a month back, and then I got in touch with him this month, and now he's one of our sponsored wrestlers. But yeah, we just try to help these guys out any way we can, and in return, they help us out by getting us out there. So it's a win-win situation for us both.
Any wrestler out there listening, make friends with an artist. Make friends with a graphic artist, because they would be the biggest help ever for you. Because like I said, a lot of these guys, they're not artists. I mean, they're artists in the ring, but that doesn't, at the end of the day, they might have an idea for a logo, but they probably don't have the tools. So I think that's great where you come in like that too. And I also know you also hope to hold a convention or a gallery one day where wrestling fans can come together and showcase their appreciation for wrestling in the form of art. And I think that's another great idea.
Yeah.
I think just having a big gallery or opening of art in wrestling, because there's definitely there's countless people that do that. So for artists who do wrestling stuff, what are your ideas behind that? What would you like to see?
So this was an idea that has been floating through my head ever since last summer, or the summer that just passed, So I was just well, what if we held a gallery that displayed all mediums of art? Because there are some people who, they love wrestling and they love art. And like me, I love graphic design and I love wrestling, and I love to put those things together. And I know that people love conventions as well, and they love galleries too. So, by putting those things together, you get the best of both worlds. I know that Rob Scamberger, I know that he had a gallery. He had a gallery that, I think it was in Kansas City, and I think he featured a lot of wrestling art as well. I mean, you got guys like Jerry Lawler, who's an artist too. He's a wrestler, a retired wrestler, but he's an artist too. So just to know that there are so many people who love this sport and they also love, art, that's just something that I would like to bring together in, like I said, from a gallery or a convention, something where all of us can come together and bring what we love to the table, literally.
Definitely. And for everybody, if you've been on grapple.bigcartel.com, you also have a fall 2016 lineup that will be out very soon. Can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect?
So, it's starting to get cold, where I live at least. It's starting to get cold. So I was going to just do everyone a favor, including myself, and, put out jackets and, hoodies. We're going to have some new T-shirts as well, some more T-shirts that are kind of that are based on the logo, but they're going to be bigger reiterations of the logo. We're also going to have new styles of hats as well. So, we have the snapback right now, but we're also going to start putting out beanies, and I'm also having the idea to put out other different styles, such as the flat bills. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, it's coming out very, very soon, and I hope you guys enjoy it when it does come out. For people that want to find out your work, find out where they can buy this, anything and everything social media, can you tell them about it? So you can find us on Twitter at Grapple Merch. You can also find us on Instagram under the same name, Grapple Merch, and you can find us on our website at grapple.bigcartel.com. Well, everybody listening out there, I hope you guys head on over to the website, pick up a shirt, pick up that hat. I love that hat. I'm going to get that hat right away. Everybody pick it up. Support Grapple Merch. Another wrestling podcast supports them big time. And we're going to throw your link also on our website so people can find it easily. So, Briana, thank you so much for joining us today, and we wish you nothing but the best in the future. Thank you so much, guys. It was nice talking to you. So here at Another Wrestling Podcast, each and every week, we want to try to come up with a new topic. Basically, we want you to listen to this episode and past episodes and not have to worry about, just listening to the same old, hey, what happened on Raw, what happened on SmackDown, what happened on this and that. So boring. We try to give you, something fresh and new, a topic. So this topic, I want to bring in the network, Cooter. The network, a lot of talk going on with the network right now. What are we thinking about here? So, we found some things online, some stories going around that. Now, the network, as you know, at $9.99. We've been paying that for the past few years now. $9.99. We've been getting some reality shows. We've been getting wrestling. We've been getting some NXT, past pay-per-views. They've been releasing old Raws and Nitros. But now the news is coming out that they could possibly be adding like Ring of Honor or TNA. If that deal does fall through, what would you pay more to watch? Other things besides the just WWE stuff? It's funny. I had a conversation with somebody probably about a year ago. I said this is something that they should have done back then. I mean, we can have a premium content area for the network, meaning I don't want to pay such and such amount of money every single month. But if I see something like, oh, wow, you know what? Everyone's talking about this Ring of Honor pay-per-view. You know what? Why doesn't WWE just host it in terms of putting it up on their network or their website or whatever it is? And you can pay such and such per pay-per-view. They're going through a lot of these other companies now, meaning like Ring of Honor, to host. I don't even know how that shit works anymore. Definitely. I think, I'm trying to really think, because now I feel like WWE wants to be that, that holder of all wrestling media. King of all media. So, from WWE, now, they own WCW, whatever else they could be showing on there, to where if they do get TNA's library, or maybe they work out a deal with Ring of Honor, do you want to pay $14.99 perhaps to get these features of Ring of Honor and TNA? Would you pay more? Like I said, I wouldn't pay that every month. I think I would like to be able to have just a premium
content section. Like, I like what I'm getting now for the price that I'm getting it at. But if I see something else that, hey, you know what? It's like, think of it this way. Think of having a cable bill. And when we would buy, say, a pay-per-view, that adds to your cable bill. I wouldn't say, hey, you know what? I might want to check out that Ring of Honor thing. Let me just pay an extra, $2, $3 or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what I'm looking at right now is I see a 4-tier plan. Plan 1 would be free. From what they're showing on here, 5 hours per month you would get for free. But you can watch all the video clips that are 5 minutes or less, on, like they have on WWE.com. But you wouldn't be able to watch pay-per-views, NXT, any of that. It's pretty much just watching archived stuff for 5 hours per month. So that's
okay.
That's a free thing. That's not bad. That's a good way to entice people to actually buy it. So giving them something free would be a great opening the door of like, hey man, I really want to watch this, but I can't. I got to pay for the price. So the next tier they have would be a plan tier 2 would be $4.99. And you could watch all the video clips just like the free one, but now you can actually watch only the big 4 events, the Rumble, SummerSlam, Summer Survivor Series, WrestleMania, the big 4. You'll be able to watch the pre-recorded NXT shows, not the live ones. A few other features like that. So $4.99, it's you actually, so the free one you have to watch full commercials. On the $4.99 you have limited commercials, so they'll probably just have a few here and there.
That's not a bad value. I wouldn't mind that. For $4.99, that's a good deal.
But phone or tablet only, so you can't go on your laptop and watch anything. So that's just the $4.99. That's not bad.
No, not at all.
Especially if you're only watching a few stuff. But now the $9.99, which we pay now. You get to watch, the same as the other stuff, but instead of just the big 4, you get to watch every pay-per-view, all the NXT takeovers. You actually watch the live NXTs as well. Pretty much everything that we're paying for now, Then they have the Cruiserweight Classic episodes on there, video archive, 24 hours stream and stuff. Now independent wrestling content, which is what we were talking about, Ring of Honor and TNA. That's going to be in the bigger plan, which is $14.99. So nobody will carry that except for the $14.99. But the $14.99 won't have any commercials. What do you think about that? So you're paying a little bit more, no commercials.
You know what? I've never really cared for the 5-second commercials that we get on.
It gives you a second to break, right?
5-10 seconds. Oh, let me go take a quick leak or something. You know what I mean? Hey, you know what though? I might be enticed to buy that, but it depends on the amount of content. I mean,
it has to be really good. Yeah,
movies, maybe. But see, TNA and Ring of Honor, that's a great value. But I mean, for an extra $5 a month, is that really breaking the bank? No, but I don't know if that's enough. I mean, it would have to be a little bit more. I mean, can we get, say, Evolve? Can we get, any of these other indie companies to maybe sign on?
Almost have to turn it into a Netflix to where every wrestling movie, or at least the WWE studio movies, like any one of those movies they've ever made, put those on the network.
I'm surprised those aren't on the network now, to be honest.
I know. I think they're really holding for like that October surprise that, like in politics, they're really waiting to, okay, we really have to put something else on there. I think then they'll finally put the movies on there. But
I mean, who doesn't want to sit back, relax with some popcorn with your girl and watch The Marine, baby?
The Marine. Followed by The Marine 2, starring The Miz, and Marine 3 and Marine whatever. But yeah, there's so yeah, I mean, they have this whole tier system, but man, I'm really trying to think to where I don't know if I want to pay the $14.99. I mean, like I don't really want to watch TNA from 2003. I'll just go on YouTube, you know what I mean? But
my problem with the network has always been, part of the reason why I bought it was so I could potentially watch Raw and SmackDown, because I don't always have the time to watch it live, which is why I got Hulu, because finding out, well, it's not available on the network for, I think it's 30 days after it airs. That to me is like a little unacceptable to me. Like, I want to be able to watch what has already been seen on demand. I mean, every other channel has that on just an on-demand service for a cable company. I mean, Flash or Arrow, the next day it's available on demand or on Hulu. I mean, can't we get what is ours on our network the day after it's already aired? That makes no sense to me.
All right, so how about this? So I'm reading further into this. It's saying the $14.99 tier ticket would include footage of non-WWE promotions, like we mentioned, and there would be no commercials. Fans would also, they say, get perks like early tickets to access to events. So early tickets for subscribers. Offline content downloads, small group online chats. That'll be fun to monitor. Second screen.
What, is Sonny going to be there?
Yeah. for only $1 more, you can get the Sunny feature. No, only $1. So second screen content, invites to in-person VIP meetups. I should note they say that the WWE specifically mentions Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor as possible promotions. So that'll be different, I guess. But now I'm paying $14.99 just to get fucking expensive
I'd love
tickets.
to know where this got found, because I haven't seen this anywhere. I mean, it's a great idea.
I feel like it's too detailed for somebody just to be like, I have nothing else going on Sunday, so I'm just going to write all this, my idea out for the plan. So, yeah.
Oh, come on. Maybe. You know, there's some fuckboy marks out there who just have nothing better to do.
They're like, I'm going to create the plan. That's what it would be for the network, and nobody will ever, regardless where we found it, we found this. But they're also saying, it sounds familiar to UFC's Fight Pass service. I don't have that. Do you have a Fight Pass?
I don't, but I know a few people who have it, and they're actually very happy with it because they feature other mixed martial arts fights from other companies, like your Invictas, and so many other names that I just can't think of off the top of my head. But the people I know who have it are very happy with it, and this is something that I think WWE needs to follow suit with. I mean, it's just a great idea. The only question is, can they get enough value, to make people pay that much extra?
Yeah, definitely, because they're saying the UFC airs live events from other promotions on their streaming service, and if that's, WWE's attempting, they're down with that great idea. So, I don't know, another little cool thing to where, maybe you're getting other little shows on there that are live. Like you said, maybe Evolve, because since they're doing stuff with that could be a little thing for them too. But it will be interesting. But I don't know, $14.99 a month. I'm already paying $9.99. I'm happy with that $9.99, but still... I don't know.
How many different subscriptions do you have? I mean, I know my Netflix, I pay for the HD, for the 4K, because I'm a G. And I got my Hulu, no commercials, because I hate commercials.
That's it. That's
$12.99, I think, and then I got the network for. I'm paying $35 a month in streaming services, ladies and gentlemen. That's a lot of money.
I feel like I'm paying alimony or something. So like, just to have fun and watch like things that we want. I'm like, damn, I owe child support to Netflix now. I'm like, that's what it is. I'm paying the money to support my my laziness. I guess I don't know.
It's crazy, especially with this whole binge watching aspect of everything now. I just can't anymore. I literally watched, I think it was a show called The Ranch. It's 10 episodes. I was done in one day. Are you kidding me? That you released that on a Friday. At least you got me through, like, I don't know, Saturday. Can you give me a couple more episodes or something?
I know, man. So that'll be interesting regardless. So there we have the network possibly evolving, no pun intended, over the next few months, years. Maybe this is a new 2017 plan. We'll find out. But please let us know. Head on over to anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. There's a bunch of links on there. Click them. You'll see Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. Tweet us, Facebook us. Send us what your thoughts are about the network possibly expanding into all these territories.
Well, each and every week, that's what we're doing here, right, Cooter?
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to go cry myself to sleep because my girl Paige is off the market officially.
Such a perro. Such a perro.
Oh, boy.
Well, Cooter, I'll see you next week.
All right, I'm going to go cry. Thanks, buddy.